Okay, I've talked about Alleria before. If you played through the Visions of N'Zoth, you've seen what a true void-bound Alleria could do. She destroyed Stormwind, killed Tyrellian, sacrificed her son to the void. I mean, it was crazy. That was a crazy scenario to play through. So, this video, Warcraft's savior or future villain, Alleria Windrunner. She certainly could be a villain, and I believe that Xal'atath sees that path for her. She talks about her, the caterpillar has become the butterfly. She's watching her, and I think she has a plan for Alleria. We'll have to see. Let's find out what Platinum WoW has to say about Alleria's future.
In The War Within, one of the main characters in the expansion is Alleria Windrunner, who's getting a new model, and honestly, it makes her look like an entirely different character.
It does, honestly. That's my one complaint about this damn new model. It doesn't look like the Alleria Windrunner that we've been seeing in the game, like, all this time. I don't know why sometimes Blizzard implements a change to a character that looks completely different, but this Alleria Windrunner is what we've always had, and this one looks like a different person. I don't know, they changed her jaw shape or made her more aggressive looking. I have no idea. It's kind of weird, but there it is.
But Alleria has been a part of Warcraft's lore ever since the second Warcraft game, and has had a long, complicated story told across multiple different forms of media, so getting a full scope of her story can be difficult to grasp. Alleria Windrunner is the oldest Windrunner sister, her younger siblings being Verisa, Sylvanas, and her brother Varath. Their mom was the Ranger General of Silvermoon, the leader of the Farstriders, who are an elite group of elven rangers in Quel'Thalas.
Some badass lore.
And because Alleria was the eldest daughter, she was next in line to become the Ranger General, which is a fate she didn't really want. So instead, she handed the leadership of the Farstriders over to her younger sister, Sylvanas. I mean, she actually wants to be the Ranger General, and look at this cool spin move she can do.
There it is.
I love you, Sylvanas! After unloading the burden of leadership, Alleria became a Ranger Captain of the Farstriders and explored the distant regions of the Eastern Kingdoms.
That turned out well. Well, I mean, Sylvanas was actually a great leader of the Farstriders, man. She did a great job. She fought off the Lich King. She did a power slide into a, into a rune blade. That probably wasn't the best move ever, but to say that she, didn't do good, she was a great leader. And she was a great warrior, good fighter. Yeah, things just didn't turn out too well in the end when Arthas showed up.
During the Second War, the Horde rampaged across the lands. Alleria's mom, dad, and little brother were all murdered by orcs and trolls, leading Alleria to fight alongside the humans of the Alliance of Lordaeron. It was during this war she would meet the paladin Tyrellian, and they'd form a relationship, but more on that in just a moment. Alleria's involvement in the war ends with going to the capital city of Lordaeron with the Alliance, defeating the Horde, and the orcs flee back down to the Dark Portal. This video is sponsored by Game of Thrones Legends, an exciting match 3 RPG game set in the world of Westeros. Create a unique team of legendary champions.
I didn't watch the finale for House of Dragons yet.
These heroes are more than just familiar faces. Plan a strategy with each of the heroes' unique abilities and weaponry, and pair them alongside one another to craft effective synergies. You can hone your skills in PvE and PvP gameplay.
Real quick, I don't comment on ads too much, but I cannot fucking stand this guy anymore. I forgot what his name. I can't stand him. His character's annoying as shit in the show.
Synergies.
He needs to die.
You can hone your skills in PvE and PvP gameplay. And you can even form your own House of Westeros and compete with rival alliances in tournaments and events. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Well, you know what? I actually do, because I'm using my genius match 3 tactics to fight a giant dragon right now. Matching these colors is truly an epic experience, and you can secure your legacy right now. Download Game of Thrones Legends by clicking the link in the description, or scan the QR code to get 50 gold, 3,000 food, and a daily summon token to start your journey today.
Advertisement is over.
In the aftermath of the war, Alleria and Tyrellian start a relationship and have a half-elf baby named Eretor. I bet if you don't pay close attention to the lore, you won't even know this guy exists.
You're gonna know soon. I think he's gonna get a new model at some point. I believe probably for, what's it called? The Midnight expansion, Eretor is gonna get a new model because he's gonna become important. I still think he is the prophesied son, right? The child of the light and void. What is it? Child of light and shadow, whatever. There's a prophecy about a kid of that. That's him, man. You got Tyrellian of the light, And you got Alleria of the Void. He's got to be. Child, he's going to be important.
You won't even know
that.
this guy exists. He's been a very minor character, and first appeared in the Burning Crusade and Honor Hold, and then briefly in Legion, and we'll be discussing more about Eretor later. Later on, the Horde re-enter Azeroth and steal some artifacts and take them back to Draenor. Alleria joins an A-team of Alliance heroes to retrieve these artifacts, called the Sons of Lothar, which included Alleria, Khadgar, Danath Trollbane, Turalyon, and Kurdran Wildhammer. The Sons of Lothar traveled to Draenor and realized the artifacts the Horde had stolen were used to conjure new portals to new worlds. This leads to an apocalyptic amount of energy surging across the planet. So much so, it risks spilling into Azeroth. So the Sons of Lothar broke the connection between the two worlds, leaving them stranded on Draenor, which was transformed into Outland.
Right.
Everyone back on Azeroth assumes the Sons of Lothar had perished in their sacrifice, and in their honor, statues were constructed in the newly rebuilt Stormwind City. One of the statues being Turalyon and Ranger Captain Alleria Windrunner.
Yeah, badass story. 1,000 years war.
It doesn't even look like her, like in the slightest, and she has a bird. When did Alleria ever have a bird? I don't know what the fuck. 20 years pass, and the Burning Crusade expansion happens. The Dark Portal is opened again.
Ooh, Mythic Saint, thank you for the sub, man. 5 months.
Shocker.
Oh man, what a great Samic Shocker. That sounds like a special move.
Players ventured into Outland, and when they arrived, they met the Alliance expedition that had managed to hold out ever since their sacrifice all those years ago. There's Kurdran Wildhammer, Danath Trollbane, Khadgar, and even Eretor, Alleria and Tralyon's kid, who's looking for his parents, but where are they? They can't be found anywhere on the continent, but it's not like they weren't here. I mean, there's an Alliance hub called the Illyrian Stronghold. We wouldn't find out the duo's fate for another decade. Turalyon and Alleria's experience from the closing of the Dark Portal to now is told in the audio drama 1,000 Years of War. I beg of you, please give it a listen, because it's some of the best Warcraft media ever produced by Blizzard. And it's also where our story turns from fantasy to borderline sci-fi. As Draenor was breaking apart and turning into the Outland, reality itself was merging with the twisting Nether, and Turalyon and Alleria jumped into a random portal to an unknown world. It was then a strange ally appeared to tell the two of their destiny.
A harmonic tone thundered across them. Turalyon leapt to his feet, drawing his hammer from its sling. Alleria spun, bow raised, arrow already knocked. Blinding light shone from a circle in the air only a few paces away. It was a rift, identical to the one Turalyon had followed to get here. All he could see through the glow was a hand beckoning them forward. A voice called out to them,
"This way, quickly!"
Turalyon's shock faded. The rift and the voice behind it were both suffused with the light.
"We can trust him,"
he told Alleria. She glanced at him, then lowered her bow.
Very well.
She stepped through the rift. Turalyon followed.
The person who saved them was Lothraxion.
Surprise, surprise, a freaking Dreadlord. Of all things. Lothraxion is a damn Dreadlord, and I still don't trust him. This guy's going to play some role going forward. All of the Dreadlords are sitting in the background. No stories to be told yet for this expansion or anyone going forward. Sire Denathri is somewhere around jerking off in the Nether. I don't know what he's up to, but he got rescued, so he's alive. They have his essence. What are the Dreadlords up to? I still don't trust Lothraxion. They've gotten into everything, including the light.
Dreadlord
More Dreadlord stories
with
to be
the light,
told.
and who had defected from the Burning Legion. Yeah, he's kind of weird and an outlier. Just go with it right now, okay? And he tells them of their fate to fight back against the Legion. Zira, the Light Mother, a powerful Naru god, has seen their future. Their destiny to become one with the light and fight back this demonic threat who are going to invade Azeroth once again. Alleria wished to return to Azeroth, to be reunited with her son she barely knew. But that was not the future Zira saw. Alleria and Turalyon are destined to battle the Legion elsewhere and join her with the Army of Light. This is a spaceship-traveling group of fanatical, holy warriors who fight demons all around the Great Dark Beyond and the Twisting Nether.
Right.
And for the next 500 years, Turalyon and Alleria were a part of the Army of Light. Turalyon was imbued with this power, making him immortal, and even Alleria learned how to blend holy magic into her combat. But Alleria's connection to the light would not last forever. During a particular attack on a demonic outpost, there were no demons. In fact, they had all been slain by the powers of the Void. The demons of the Burning Legion have the ability to respawn when they're killed, but with the Void magic, they're permanently killed. Alleria was intrigued by the idea, an incredibly effective method to fight back against the biggest threat in the universe, the biggest threat to Azeroth, and the biggest threat to her son. The Void saw this gap in her mind, this openness to corruption, an opportunity to strike and lay dormant in her mind. Alleria's acceptance and ultimately wielding of Void powers for the greater good ostracized her from the Army of Light and her wholly infused himbo husband. She voluntarily isolated herself from the Army of Light,
Oh, what's
but
she
also,
doing? What the hell is that hand motion?
yeah, they wouldn't really want her there if she was dabbling in Void magic.
What the hell? The Zero voice.
Right on time, fleshling.
What? Show yourself! Who are you?
Yes, I do have a real name. It's none of your business.
Basically.
Who is that?
Were I to speak it aloud, 1,000 void portals would rip open, and some very unpleasant entities would come looking to collect on old debts.
Could you elaborate? Even a little?
Here's a hint. It's an ancient word of power. If I whisper it in your ear, your mind will fall into madness. Still want to
Good old
play?
Void
What
Walker.
are you talking about?
It is all about perspective. But by all means,
Locus.
if you want to see reality itself torn asunder, keep asking about my name.
During her isolation, Alleria meets an entity called the Locus.
He's actually really badass. A Locust Walker is a very cool and intriguing character, and I can't wait to find out more about him. The cinematic between him and Alleria was really cool to watch, where he talks about just the way he talks to her in riddles, kind of. You know, in a way, I mean, he's pretty straightforward about the fact that what's going on now in Azeroth is what happened on his planet before it was destroyed. So he's not really beating around the bush with that one. But the way he talks to her about, controlling her power, not falling into madness, he seems to have mastered the Void. So we think. He could just be totally corrupted, and actually it's the Void speaking through him. Well, we'll have to see.
Walker, an ethereal who's a master of the Void and teaches her how to wield it in its dichotomy with the light. He explains to Alleria how the light is blinded by only accepting one singular path of destiny. Conversely, the Void accepts all possible futures as truth, and neither are getting a full story to a person's true identity. Suddenly, the teaching is interrupted and Alleria has a vision of a Legion assassin who has just poisoned Turalyon, and he's gonna torment him for all eternity in a soul stone. Even worse, he swore to do the exact same to their son. Alleria jumps into action, teleporting to the Zenidar, and attacks this assassin with her void magic. And this demon attempts to flee between realities, and Alleria pursues him. Now, humor me for a second, because this is a part of the audio drama. It's one of my favorite moments written in Warcraft history. I'm just gonna play it to you directly and cut out some parts to make it shorter. Just take a listen to this.
Okay. I'm listening.
The creature ran. It ran and ran and ran, sliding between realms, dancing between the twisting nether and the void. It ripped Alleria's spike free from its chest. The weapon dissolved into nothing. The Eridar was gasping in pain. Each step came with a chant.
Have to get away. 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 Have to...
Dark matter wrapped around its neck. The demon screamed as it was yanked from its dance and pulled back onto the Xenadar, back into the twisting nether. The Eridar was on its feet in a second, hissing through its fanged teeth. Its daggers whirled in both hands, and it sliced away the bonds of shadow. With a desperate laugh, it hurled its poisoned blades at the woman. She had pulled it here, to the one place where it could die, and the blades stopped in midair. She stepped past them.
Gil'dayden, save me!
Is he watching?
Alleria walked forward, closing the distance. She kept walking toward it, step after step after step.
Badass.
The Eridar could feel Kil'jaeden's disappointment. He had heard its cries and ignored them. And then she was standing before it. The demon fell to its knees. It couldn't even lift its arms to beg for mercy. All it could do was wheeze out its last prayer.
Please. Please. Please.
She knelt in front of it, meeting its gaze. All hope died with her words.
You promised to kill my son.
Her dagger slipped easily into its throat. The demon made not a sound. It just stared at her with unblinking eyes as its life drained away. Behind her, on the other end of the hall, were Turalyon and Lothraxion, watching. The demon saw astonishment in their eyes. It saw fear. Then it all faded away. It was a relief.
That was so cool, and then Blizzard
Freaking
never made an audio
badass.
drama ever again.
6 years ago. Hey, you were asking when that came out. 6 years ago. Yeah, this was really good. I listened to this every day when I was driving around. Man, this freaking audio drama was amazing. The sound, the narration, the voiceovers. It was very good.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
The Light Mother Zira imprisons Alleria for her use of the Void after she refuses to denounce her dark powers. Keep in mind, she isn't using the Void for the Army of Light. She's doing this for Azeroth, and if she must be imprisoned for doing so, well, so be it. The continuation of her story and the Army of Light is told in the Shadows of Argus patch in Legion. Now keep in mind, Alleria and Turalyon have been fighting with the Army of Light for 1,000
think it came out
years,
during Legion.
but because of weird space-time stuff, it's only been around 2 decades for everyone back on Azeroth. During this patch, the Legion's homeworld of Argus is teleported right next to Azeroth, and the Army of Light goes to the planet to assault it in the final battle against the Legion. The final battle in a war that has been going on for thousands and thousands, and their ship gets instantly shot down, with Alleria being one of the individuals inside of it. Players land on the world of Argus, meet Turalyon, and then travel to the crashed ship to save those still trapped inside. And during their excursion, Alleria swoops in to save the day.
One shot, bitch.
Alleria. Perfect timing, as always.
I have made a habit of saving you from the grasp of demons.
But Alleria, there's something else. When the ship from Azeroth arrived, I sensed his presence.
Arator. He's here.
I would know it anywhere. Even after all the years we've spent apart.
Every day for
Arator is going to play a big role going forward, guaranteed.
1,000 years, I've thought about what I wanted to say to him.
It was a
Now,
great
though,
patch.
Words fail me.
I know, my love. I feel the same. But once we see our son, our hearts will speak for us.
Let's not keep our son waiting.
But couldn't you have reached out to us? To your people? To me?
Arator, not a day passed that your mother and I didn't...
Every choice we made was to keep you safe. It broke our hearts to be apart from you.
Son, there is so much more we have to say. But our allies at the Xenadar will soon be overrun.
You must go to their aid, Turalyon. I will scout behind enemy lines and provide a distraction. We will return soon, Arator.
I understand. Light be with you both. It pains me to see them go, Aunt Verisa. I could not bear to lose them now. Not after waiting all these years.
Have patience, Arator. It may take time, but your family will be whole again.
No doubt my mother will soon ask about Sylvanas. What are you going to tell her?
It is a conversation I know we must have.
Oh, hopefully she can skip the part of Shadowlands, because that was really shit lore for Sylvanas. Maybe she just doesn't tell her about that. That'd be a good idea. But Arator, by the way, if you're wondering where they're at right now, him and Turellian currently live in Silvermoon together, and he's training in the in the light to basically become even stronger as a paladin. And his mom, he's only seen her a couple times, right? She's out doing void shit with Locust Walker, so he doesn't get to see her a lot. In the story recently released, she basically comes and visits them, and she's not allowed to spend time in Silvermoon. She's basically been banned from there because of what happened when she went to the Sunwell, right? She basically had an interaction with the Sunwell where she summoned some void creatures into Silvermoon. So she's been banned from there. But she's allowed to visit one time. She's supposed to leave before the sun goes down, but she visits with Turellian and Arator, and they have a little conversation about everything that's going down. And it was a cool little what's it called? It's like an audio thing. It's a book actually, but you can listen to it in audio form.
The thought of it fills me with dread.
Lorthomar's wedding. Yeah, that was the president from Lorthomar's wedding.
Can I explain to Alleria what our sister has become? The truth will break her heart.
Turellian is sitting in with Anduin, yeah, but I'm talking about his interactions with Arator, right? He was in Silvermoon for all that stuff. But yes, you're right. Like, right now, if you go look for him, he's currently sitting on the throne in Stormwind. Yes, that is true.
Impossible! I refuse to believe she now leads the Horde. Not after all they did to our people during the war. There's more. I'm not sure how to explain the rest. Or if this is even the time or place to... I must know, Verisa. What fate befell our sister? Give me a moment. I will do my best to explain. Perhaps we had best discuss the matter in private.
While Alleria and Turellian were getting accustomed to their family after being separated from them for 1,000 years, they still had a war to win. And through this patch, the Army of Light and the player characters fight back the Burning Legion on their homeworld. But demons aren't the only foes on Argus. In the zone of Eridath, a Naru has fallen to the powers of darkness, and is spreading void energies all across the zone. And a group of void-obsessed ethereals called the Shadow Guard are there to claim it.
Ooh.
With help from Locust Walker, Alleria learns how to better control the powers of the void, defeat these ethereals, and even consumes the entire essence of this fallen Naru.
Survived. Interesting. How do you feel?
The voices are louder now, more insistent, but they do not control me.
You asked me to teach you to use the void as a weapon. Now that weapon is you.
It seems...
I think it was at this very moment when she took on the essence of the, what's it called? The Naru. The Void Naru, basically. That was when Xal'atath says that the caterpillar has become the butterfly. So she's like become fully corrupted or on her way to being fully corrupted. That's at least what Xal'atath believes. So they see everything that's going on and they're letting it happen because I think they believe they can use her as a weapon. And yeah, by the way, I misspoke, by the way. I meant to say Arator is in Silvermoon. And yes, of course, the rest of it, Turellian is in Stormwind. He was there, yeah, for the wedding. That's right.
My training is complete.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to test the limits of this newfound power. Come.
Alleria can turn her void form on or off whenever she pleases, and uses it to help defeat the Burning Legion at the end of the expansion, and Azeroth is saved!
Great ending.
Ignore the giant sword that was plunged into the earth at the end of the expansion.
It is unsettling to look upon these memorials to our passing.
I would imagine so.
Indeed.
Alleria and Trallian finally return to Azeroth. But this Azeroth is far different from the one they were familiar with. The biggest difference being that Alleria's sister, Sylvanas, was undead and is leading the Horde, and the High Elves, who are now renamed the Blood Elves, have also joined the Horde. Even worse, there are rumblings of another war between the Alliance and Horde. King Anduin Wrynn suggests that Alleria travels to Quel'Thalas so that she can convince the Blood Elves to change sides. A difficult task, but it doesn't hurt to try.
If you don't know, the Blood Elves have almost rejoined the Alliance a couple times now. Like, this is not an unheard of thing or like a weird or like far-fetched attempt. During Garrosh's reign, they almost rejoined the Alliance again, too. So there's been a couple times where they've kind of wavered in terms of their alliance with the Horde, but never fell through.
Lorthamar, I come bearing an offer from High King Anduin Wrynn.
I had hoped your visit was motivated by a love for Silvermoon. Instead, you come at the behest of the Alliance's boy king.
Damn.
How disappointing.
Cutting words, Lorthamar.
Lothamar is a badass leader, I'm not gonna lie. I hope we get more of him in the coming expansion.
Are they yours, I wonder? Or has the dutiful ranger I knew become the mouthpiece of your war chief?
You doubt my words, yet how can we trust your own? Do you deny that the Lords of the Void whisper to you? Did you not surrender yourself to the shadows on Argus?
It seems the offer I bring has been anticipated and spurned. Very well. But before I leave, I have one request. It has been 1,000 years since I set eyes upon the Sunwell. May I visit it once again?
I advise against it.
Yeah, this moment right here is the reason why she's not allowed to come back. Because Lothamar is actually a good leader, and he allows, whether you're a high elf or he allows all elves of high elf descent, basically, to visit the Sunwell. He believes it's a rite of passage for all elves, and whether or not they're Horde or Alliance, they should be allowed to visit it. But this moment right here is why Alleria is no longer allowed in Silvermoon.
We cannot trust that she will not...
Whatever she has become, Alleria is a daughter of Quel'Thalas.
Right here.
I will not deny her pilgrimage to our most sacred site. Ramoth, kindly open the way for us.
The Sunwell has changed, but its beauty remains. It has been so long.
Boom.
Seize this saboteur.
I did not intend for my presence to...
Enough! You will leave at once, Alleria. Accident or no, your presence poses a danger to Quel'Thalas. Go back to Stormwind. Silvermoon is no longer your home.
He had to do it, man. It was dangerous.
Alleria is then banished from her homelands, which is difficult to come to terms with. You know, she just went on this intergalactic crusade for 1,000 years, accepted the powers of the Void, only for them to reject her when she returned home. She understood why, obviously, but that didn't make the separation any easier. Alleria would soon discover that she wasn't the only elf to research the powers of the Void. In the Ghostlands, she finds scribblings of Magister Umbric and discovers a rogue group of shadow-dabbling miscreants called the Void Elves.
The Void Elves,
and offers to teach them how to master the Void. Kind of glossing over this lore because, it kind of sucks.
It does suck.
Let's be honest here, the only reason why Void Elves exist is because Blood Elves are the most popular playable race. And
yeah, totally. It should have been High Elves. I don't understand why the Void Elf thing happened. I mean, you could have easily had just High Elves that happen to dabble in the Void or whatever it is, but, you know, this was Blizzard's excuse to give the elf skeleton, basically, to the Alliance.
All of World of Warcraft, and Blizzard made Void Elves an allied race to give their character models over to the Alliance.
Yeah.
Lore-wise, there's probably, like, I don't know, 50 Void Elves, so it doesn't even make that much sense.
Yeah.
And Alleria's just like, so, you guys, like, want to join the Alliance, I guess? I mean, sure, we don't really have anything else going on, so I guess that sounds good.
Basically.
The battle for Azeroth happens, and it's an all-out war between the Horde and the Alliance. Alleria is forced to fight her fallen sister, and even worse, the old god N'Zoth is trying to take over the world.
Right.
But Sylvanas is defeated, and this old god is killed, and while Alleria doesn't play a big role in this expansion, that doesn't mean it isn't traumatic for her.
I thought I'd find you here. It's a place you often visit when something's on your mind.
Perhaps these statues remind me of a simpler time.
So much has happened since our return to Azeroth. The wounding of the world, the war against the Horde.
War, I understand. We both do. But I expected to be fighting with two sisters at my side. Instead, I faced one of them in battle. Or at least, what remains of her.
Has the downfall of the old god
Damn.
brought you at least a measure of peace?
The whispers did not end with his defeat. In fact, it seems new voices have joined the chorus. I think of the nightmares he forced into my mind. How could I have ever loved someone so weak? Let us hope Eretor did not inherit your cowardice.
Alleria, please.
Yeah, this whole thing, yeah, like I said, if you played through the Visions of N'Zoth, maybe you didn't pay attention because you were just speed running the shit out of it. But the lore behind what happened in the Stormwind version is insane, man. Alleria loses her shit, just goes on a killing spree. And nobody could stop her.
You have always stood between me and the void. Now die with your precious light.
Father, do not listen to the whispers.
Yeah, she sacrifices him away.
Too long. They speak the truth, Eretor, and you will hear them. I will make you hear them.
No, I will never.
It's insane.
I witnessed them too. But they didn't shake my faith in you. Not for a moment.
Nor mine for you, my love. Enough reflection. We have a job to do. Hunt down Sylvanas and make her pay.
Yeah.
Shadowlands happens.
Great. Yeah, this is the worst part.
Sylvanas is defeated, and let's jump forward to the war within,
Yeah, let's
where
please.
a new entity of the Void has taken interest in Alleria. Many characters are hearing something called the Radiant Song, a mysterious vision from who we assume is Azeroth crying out for aid. Except for Alleria, who's experiencing visions of the Void.
Oh.
The entity watching and ultimately trying to pull her into madness is the Harbinger, Xal'atath, a Void being wielding a powerful artifact
Beyblade.
called the Dark Heart, which she
Oh, yeah.
plans to use
Give
to
us a
corrupt
smile.
all
Yeah.
of Azeroth. After speaking to Locus Walker about this whole ordeal, he reveals that this Radiant Song other characters have been hearing is very similar to the song his people heard before their world was destroyed.
Right.
So, yeah, not a good sign. Alleria and other characters must travel into the depths of Azeroth, find the source of this song, and stop Xal'atath before it's too late. And with this expansion, Alleria is getting a new model. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like
100%, me too. I thought it when I first saw it. I was like, what is that? That doesn't look like Alleria anymore. I felt like they changed her face too much. Looking at them side by side, maybe they didn't, but something about it just looks weird. I don't mind her armor and everything. Tattoos look like they flipped arms, whatever that is. But something about her just didn't look like Alleria anymore.
it's just missing iconic parts
I
of her
like it.
character.
I don't not like it. She looks cool. That's fine, but she doesn't look like Alleria to me.
Like with her high elf ranger armor or her iconic war paint, and instead she looks like a totally different character. Like she looks like a main character of a YA novel.
Sounds good to me.
Straight up Hunger Games, Aragon, Maze Runner, Ranger's Apprentice looking ass. And there is a bit more lore in a short story prelude where Alleria travels back to
This is the one I was
Silvermoon to
talking
try and
about.
convince Eretor to stay away from Xal'atath. To which he responds, I'm a paladin. Fighting big, bad, evil people, it's kind of my thing. If you want to hear the full story, I have a voiceover version with sound effects that you can listen to on my Patreon. Also, Eretor apparently got badass light and void dragon tattoos on his arms. Just some real gangster shit. Dude just has an unlimited amount of half-elf swag. Remember to jump into the land of Westeros by clicking the link down below or scan the QR code and get 50 gold, 3,000 food, and a daily summon token to start your journey.
There it is.
Excellent!
That was great. Yeah, Alleria is going to be important going forward. There is no doubt in that. In terms of like her role going, she's going to be... I don't feel like she falls into corruption. If she does, maybe for a moment. But in the end, she's going to be what helps us defeat Xal'atath, because she's at least the Locust Walker still believes like she is key to us stopping what happened to his planet. And that's why he's training her up and trying to get her to master her powers before it's too late and Xal'atath, summons a Void Lord and destroys everything. Whether or not all that happens correctly, probably going to find out more in Midnight. We'll have to wait and see.